Today we're going to do the handover video for the Burstner Aviano. We're going to start on the outside and then we're going to move on to the inside. To start off, on your passenger side, you've got where your fill-up point. It's diesel into here, not petrol or water, so make sure of that. Moving along, you've also got where your leisure battery is concealed in this storage box here. Open this up and you can see that you've got your leisure battery, which is just down there. Moving along, you've got your fresh water tank. Your fresh water tank is located underneath your two passenger seats, which are on the inside of the vehicle. To drain this system down, I'll show you how to do that when we're on the inside, as this is internal to the vehicle. But filling this system up, all you've got to do is similar to your diesel, is put your key in, unlock it, and then you can simply turn this and remove it. Put your hose pipe in and fill it all the way up. You know it's full when water's coming out. Moving along, you've next got your hookup point. If I press this button in, it'll then allow me to open this up, and this is where you connect your mains hookup. Once open, you can see your mains hookup is just into this point here. Next, this leads me on to your drain down point for your wastewater. You've got three main drain down points in the motorhome. You've got your fresh water, your wastewater, and your drain down for your boiler. Your fresh water, as I said, is internal to the vehicle, and I'll show you that. Your wastewater is underslung. To empty this, you'll notice that you've got this handle here. All you've got to do is twist this, and that will empty the system. You can see which is just draining out the vehicle now. Finally, on this side of the vehicle, you have your toilet cassette, which is just in here. Your toilet cassette, the important bit in essence, is you need to make sure that the blade on the toilet is closed. Close the blade, and then you can empty the toilet. So you can remove that and then simply empty it. In regards to this, you'll notice you've got a button on the actual cassette itself, which will actually release a vacuum in the cassette. So when emptying the system, it'll all run out in one steady flow. Opening up the cassette, you can see that you've got a handle just down here. You need to pull up on that to remove it. If this ever feels like it's being forced, the chances are you are doing something wrong and the blade on the toilet may still be open. If that is the case, go and have a look at that area. Moving around to the back, you've got your tow bar, which is on the back here, your bike rack, and then finally you have your reverse camera, which is just at the top there. Moving around the vehicle, you have a little bit of storage in here. Once you've opened this area up, you've got your access point into your garage area, which goes all the way underneath, so you can really utilise the space. You have some heated blankets here, which are just in the vehicle. And then you'll also notice your boiler drain down point, which is just into here. Your boiler drain down point, as I say, is your third drain down point. And this is everything from the boiler to the taps, in essence. This is all your internal system. To drain this down, all you've got to do, pop this up. You can see just by my foot that it drains down the system there. You need to make sure that you always drain down this system when storing the vehicle, as what can happen is, especially when you're storing it in the winter, the water in the system can freeze, and if that is the case, your boiler it will break your boiler. So if that's the case, you need to make sure that you always do this. To close it, simply pop down and that'll close the system. Moving along, you've got your truma vents here, which in essence is the vehicle's chimney or the flue. Never hang anything on here, as it does get very hot, so just be careful of this area. Up at the top, you'll notice that you've got your awning, which is just on here. It winds out from this point over here, as you can see, with an awning pole. And all you need to simply do is wind that out, and then you have some legs on the top which then drop down and then allow you to take the weight of the awning, and then simply walk it out. Moving on, you've then got your fridge vents, which are just here. You can get winter covers for these if you do choose to have them. And then finally, just coming round, you have your gas locker. Your gas locker will hold two 6 kg bottles, which just link into there with a pigtail. Next, we've finished on the outside, we're going to move on to the inside. Moving on to the interior of the vehicle. First, the inside of the vehicle, you'll notice that you've got your control panel. Just to walk you through this, if you click this button, this will activate the system. You've then got your lights, which are up at the top, which you can flick through, just like so, by swiveling this. You've then got your pump, which indicates that it's on. Your vehicle battery, which if I click, will indicate its voltage. Your habitation battery, which is just there, again clicking, showing its showing its voltage here. And then finally, you've got your freshwater and wastewater levels as well. The last setting as well here, you can, if you click on this, you'll notice that you've got your vehicle's temperature as well. Just to escape from these, you've got this blue button here, which will allow you to go back out the menu. To close this system down, all you've got to do is hold this, and you can see it shuts down the display. Moving on, next, coming from your control panel, you have your heater. So heater, you've got 2 settings. This top dial is for your gas, and the bottom is for your electric. Now, I'll start off with electric, as it is a lot simpler. With your electric, all you've got to do is turn that down, you'll see that that green light comes on. What this will do is it'll run the, it'll heat the hot water. Now, it's worth mentioning that you can only heat the water on electric. Sorry, you can only, the only thing that you can heat from electric is, on electric is the water. You can't, in essence, heat the vehicle with electric, it has to be gas. So that's that system there. Moving up, you've got your Truma system, again still on the Truma system, but running it off the gas. So if you wanted to heat your water, what you've got is you've got 2 settings. You've got 40 or 60, which is just there. As you can see, if I just focus on. So you can see that that's there. Your 40 degrees, what you're going to be using that for is, in essence, I'll just focus this for you. In essence, what you're going to be using the 40 degrees for is when you're having a shower. And 60 degrees, you're going to be using that when you're washing your hands and things like that. And as I say, that is just gas and just for the water. If you want to heat the space, heating the space is dead simple. Just simply turn to this area here, the one flame, and that'll heat the entire area of the vehicle. Finally, you can heat both using the gas, so you can heat the water and the space. By doing that, just select that bottom one there. To turn off, simply turn to this this O position, and then the system will be turned off. It's worth mentioning as well, you'll also notice that you've got these numbers on this dial here. What you need to do with this is change this depending on the temperature of the water and the space heater as well, to your liking. Next, moving from your heater system, we have your oven and grill, and then also you have your fridge. For your fridge, how this works is a 3-way fridge. So you've got your mains, leisure battery, and gas. So when you're going to be using each. Your mains you're going to be using when you're hooked up onto site. Your leisure battery you're going to be using when you're travelling. And your gas you're going to be using when you're wild camping. A lot of people think that they can run the fridge off the 12 volt system, off the leisure battery. However, that isn't the case. The issue is that the fridge just requires too much power and would therefore drain the battery, so you wouldn't have anything left in your leisure battery. So, as I say, that can only be done when you're travelling. You've also got your temperature on this side, and if you are running it on gas, an igniter switch there to ignite it. Moving down, you'll also notice that you've got some locks here to lock the fridge into place, if you and lock the doors into place when travelling. And you've got your freezer up at the top and your fridge down below. Moving on from your fridge, you've then got some more storage in here and also all along. Just quickly underneath the bed, as I say, you've got your garage, which is into the back there. You've also got a little bit more storage here. Underneath the bed as well, you'll have a your Truma boiler system, which is just underneath here. This is our area there. With the boiler system, you don't need to do anything with. The only thing that you need to do, which concerns you, is is flick that toggle, which I've shown you how to do in the garage space, just to drain that system. Next, moving from the bedroom area, we're moving into your bathroom. Into the bathroom, before I talk more on the toilet, your sinks. So with your sink and your shower, and including the sink in the actual kitchen area, what you need to do is, once you're on site and you've filled up with water, you need to come to each of your taps, turn them on and turn them to hot. That's including your shower as well. Because what you're now going to do is prime your system, and this is what you need to do every time that you set up on site. So, simply fill up the system, turn on and turn it to hot, and what that's going to do is it's going to drag fresh water into the system, going through the boiler and out of the tap. It's then going to spurt and splutter, and when it's running steadily, you know that you've primed your system. You need to do that, as I say, for each of your taps. Once you've done that on hot, flick it over to cooled and do the exact same. That's going to prime your cooled water as well. Once you've done that, leave the pump on. You're good to go. It'll only activate your pump once you need it. Worth noting as well, all the water that goes down your plugs, including the shower, goes into your wastewater tank. And what we say is, when you are draining down your systems, you can actually leave them open, as it is only water, so when travelling, the vibrations of the road are going to empty all the system. Once we're happy with your priming your system, we can move on to your cassette toilet. As I mentioned briefly outside, the blade is the most important point. If that blade is open and you try to remove your cassette, you're going to break it. So, firstly, make sure that the blade's closed. The blade is closed, as you can see in the toilet there, that the cassette is still closed. To open that, all you've got to do is pull the blade towards you, and that'll open the cassette, and you'll be able to see into the cassette if you wish to open it. When using it, you need to open the cassette so that all the waste drops into the cassette. You then simply flush using the blue button down there, and that'll clean it. Once you've done that, close the blade so no nasty smells get out or odours, and then you're good to go. Just down here as well, as I say, this is your flush, this blue button here. It's worth noting that this will only work when your pump is on. And then finally, you'll have a little light on here which will indicate when the cassette is full. When you get that light, you need to empty it. Moving from the bathroom area, we've next got your wardrobe space, which is all in here. It's a great bit of storage. And then you've also got your RCD breaker, which is just into here. Your RCD breaker is in essence your trip box, so if the van ever trips, you need to come to this space here. You'll also notice there's a blue button which is in the middle of the trip switches. That's a test button. So for example, if you can't get anything to work in the vehicle, if you're not getting any 230 volt or anything like that supply to the vehicle, you need to come to here and click that button. That's going to ultimately trip the box and trip that area. If that does trip, if the switches do trip downwards, you know that you're getting power to the vehicle. If that's the case, then you've got a fault with your van, so it helps you isolate the problem. If it doesn't do that, you simply need to ask the site, because it's clearly a site issue. It means that you're not getting any power to the vehicle. But if it trips, you are. So then, as I say, it just allows you to isolate the problem. Next, we're moving on to your kitchen area. So you have your hob here, your drain, and also your sink. We've discussed about priming your system, so you're fine with that. And then also you've got your hob, as I say, which is just here. Just when igniting this, you've got to hold in, turn, and then simply get a match or an igniter just to light that flame. Moving into the lounge area. This is the lounge. You can see that you've got your two captain swivel chairs, which are just there, along with your passenger seats here. As I mentioned, you've got one final drain down point which is left in the vehicle. That is located underneath this bench seat here. This is where your fresh water tank is. You fill up from the outside, and then to drain down, all you've got to do is remove this cushion, open it up one of the hatches, open up the fresh water, and then you have a plug which is in the fresh water tank, which you need to undo, take out, and that'll empty the whole system. I'll show you that now. Once you have the seat removed, you can then lift up the panel. You can see that you have access to your actual freshwater tank. All you've got to do from here is unscrew that red cap and then find the plug which is in the system. Finally, once you've done your cassette, your freshwater, you're onto your bed. To drop this area, all you've got to do is drop the seats just by using the latch on the side there. Drop the 2 front seats, and then you can simply unlatch and then simply drop down, and that'll drop into position. Finally, before concluding and finishing up, just on your windows you have your fly screens which are here, and also your blackout blinds which are just here. That goes for the same, which are all around the windows as well. On certain windows you'll notice, if I go to this one, you can open them just by unlatching the latches, just like so, and then pushing out. You can have these on venting as well, but of course make sure that these are shut so no air can come through when travelling. That concludes the handover video of the Aviano. I hope you enjoyed.